The final score, Wrexham 1, Mansfield Town 0, and that was a very important and satisfying result. These were two strong teams. Wrexham third going into the match, Mansfield fourth. They'd have gone above us if they'd won, and they have a game in hand on us. Now, thanks to this win, if they win that game in hand, they still can't go above us. I know it's small little victories at this point in the season, but that sort of thing can do a lot to just maintain morale, can't it, and keep you going. This was a battle of a match in many ways. It was absolutely fascinating to watch, and either side could have got a result out of it, but Wrexham will be really pleased to have been able to dig in and make an early goal count. Mansfield started the better, although I've got to say the opening stages were just frantic. There was such a lack of space around the pitch as players were really working hard to press and hunt the ball, play with the ball down. There were quite a few mistakes at the back initially by Wrexham as well, and the first early opportunity comes because of an uncharacteristic mistake by George Dobson, who's in his own half, tries to pass it across his half to Tom O'Connor, and instead picks out the dangerous Will Evans, who bursts forwards and drives in a shot. Okonkwo is able to save it. It's a bit too straight, although it does sort of fumble through his hands, and just for a second he looks to have the panicked reaction of somebody who thinks he's let it through his hands into the net, but he's pushed it to the side, isn't on target, and he's okay. Evans involved in the next move a minute later as well. Great ball down the left channel for Gregory, who was outstanding, I thought, up front for Mansfield. Him against Scar, breaking into the box. He's goal side of Scar, and you think he's going to get a shot off from pretty close range, but then he goes down, Gregory. Scar's right up behind him. Does he push him? Well, Mansfield certainly thought so. For me, not enough contact, but pushing's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? I would say that. But for me, yeah, I don't think Scar's done enough to knock Gregory over. He's gone down a bit easily. The referee waves it away. Oh, I should mention the referee, Simon Mather, as well, because I thought he was very consistent in the way he reffed it. He did allow physical contact, and that really helped the game to flow. I know it's all cliches, this, but I feel often referees try to do this and they get it wrong, and it's not allowing physical contact, it's just allowing fouls. But this guy, I thought, was pretty good and pretty consistent in the way that he reffed it as well. So fair play to him. I've got to say, Mansfield will have the exact opposite opinion. Nigel Clough was constantly furious with the referee. I felt, and again, I've got my biased hat on, let's be honest here. I thought Mansfield were looking for free kicks for contact more than Wrexham were, and that sort of ref in that sort of matchup is going to favour us. Well, Evans, I mean, he always does. I mean, he's a great player, Evans, and when I've seen interviews with him, he seems like a nice chap, but when he's playing, he really likes to work the ref and his opponents, and yeah, he had a lot of time on the floor complaining about stuff, and this was the wrong ref to go for. Anyway, after that rather hairy start for Wrexham, we take the lead in the 6th minute, and it's a fine goal. Okonkwo knocking it long. Ollie Palmer, who did a hell of a shift, flicks it on. It's a good little touch by Paul Mullin, just to get there ahead of his man and put enough on the ball to drop it into Barnett's path. Barnett driving through the middle, is given enough time on the edge of the D, even though there are defenders round him, to get it onto his right foot, and he drills a great shot into the bottom left corner. Fantastic goal. The place comes, explodes, and Wrexham have got the early lead. And up until the half-hour mark, there's really not much more to report. It's interesting because Mansfield have got a superb away record. Before this game, they played 5, only dropped points in 1. And the template for them is that they've got an excellent defence and they're quick on the counter-attack. And they'll sit off and then hit you. Now, they start doing this. Wrexham do it to an extent as well. And so up until the half-hour mark, it's quite an interesting sort of standoff between two counter-punchers, if you want, who are waiting for the other guy to make the first move. And you don't see much at all in terms of goal-mouth action until a set piece on the right-hand side for Mansfield. Lewis sweeps the ball in. Gregory gets it well on the edge of the area and heads it just wide. Good contact by him. A couple of minutes later, well, first of all, between those two instants, Mansfield lose their goalkeeper, Christy Pym, coming off, and Scott Flinders having to come on. And then there's another major moment of controversy. I beg your pardon. No, actually it's not. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. There's a ball into midfield. Cannon looks to be fouled, but the ref doesn't give it. Like I said, he's consistent. The ball falls for Evans, who drives into the left channel, into that box again. Okonkwo does really well. He's decisive. He tears off his line, and he's able to stop the shot with his chest because he gets so close to Evans that Evans hasn't got much of the goal to aim at. I think Evans needs to hit that a bit earlier, in all honesty. So this grappling continues. Wrexham then get an opportunity out of nothing when Flinders, who is fresh on the pitch, slips over as he kicks it and slices the ball about 4 or 5 yards in front of him in the box. Luckily for Mansfield, Cargill is the player there. Barnett does really well to charge his clearance down, though, and it ricochets behind. That could have gone anywhere as well. A bizarre incident, but a let-off for Mansfield. And Wrexham have one more chance in the half. Lee feeding the ball on nicely to Palmer. He helps it on again to Mullin on that right corner, cuts in on his left foot and looks to curl the ball around the keeper and inside the post, puts it just wide. Good effort by Mullin. Second half, Wrexham come out strong and have a really good spell at the start of the half. There's a wasteful free kick by Mansfield, which Wrexham take advantage of. Classic Lee-Palmer interaction. Punching the ball to the edge of the box, Palmer pins his man, lovely delicate layoff, puts it right where Lee wants it, and he again looks to rip it from the edge of the box round the keeper and inside the post and just misses the target. Then Barnett does really well to intercept and find his pal Cannon. As we've seen so many times, Barnett goes off on his merry way down the wing. Cannon gets a great ball off to find him again. Tremendous cross by Barnett. Mullin goes for the scissors kick. He's unmarked at the far post, mishits it, and it goes out of the box. McLean latches onto it and tries to go for power the outside of his left foot, as he does so often in those sort of situations, and puts it just over. Mullin frustrated. It was a really good chance, but he has to follow his instinct, go for the scissor kick. He could have taken a touch and got the shot off, but then if you don't get your touch right, keeper probably comes and saves at your feet. So unfortunate for him. Then it's Dobson threatening again. Palmer, the fulcrum, feeding him. Dobson driving forwards from midfield to the edge of the area, toe busting a shot which goes just wide of the right post. And a couple of minutes later again, Cannon, another good pass, switching this time for Mullin. Mullin all on his own, holds her up really well on the left flank, waits for support, finds it in Lee, who again drives it from the edge of the box, and the shot just skims the bar. So at this point, Wrexham are looking at the side who are going to get the next goal, are putting pressure on, are looking good. But Mansfield come back into it in the middle of the half. They make game-transforming substitutions. Hiram Boateng comes on, and he is excellent in the centre of midfield, carrying the ball forwards, very direct, does really, really well. Wrexham have a huge let-off shortly after he comes on, when Hewitt drives in a good first-time ball. Gregory strikes the ball beautifully from about 15 yards. The ball thumps off the bar and drops down. Boateng attacks it and hits a shot. A terrific block on the edge of the area by Elliot Lee. And then the ball drops loose. There's a scramble in the box around the penalty spot. Now the ball's looped up to the far post, and Okonkwo is able to take it when it's headed back into the goal mouth, and danger has passed. But it's the start of a good spell by Mansfield, who start to put good pressure on. And then they have another opportunity, and this real terrific piece of football. Evans picking the ball up, ripping in a powerful shot from the edge of the area in the D. Fabulous save by Okonkwo. I mean, Evans has nailed the shot into the bottom left corner. Okonkwo, such strong hands, and that terrific wingspan of his, lunges and somehow managed to get his hand behind it and push it back into play. Superb save. The trouble is, Lewis is running up to knock it into an empty net, but Wrexham have Barnett's pace, and he tears back and manages somehow to get a toe to it and divert it for a corner just as Lewis is about to score. Big, big let-off for Wrexham, but great work by Okonkwo and by Barnett. We make a change halfway through the second half. Ollie Rathbone coming on for Cannon, and I've got to say Cannon was excellent. I mean, Cannon basically ran himself into the ground, played really well in the centre of midfield. Rathbone comes on and has a huge impact on the game because we know how good he is off the ball, pressing, harrying. Goodness me, he wins so many tackles. It's a perfect substitution because Rathbone just adds a terrific level of resilience to our midfield just when Cannon is naturally getting a bit tired having worked so hard. Wrexham make the next chance. Mullin on the right, ripping in across. Palmer making a terrific contact with a header from a decent distance out, but it goes just wide. And then Wrexham again starts going to it a bit more. Dobson feeding Palmer, who helps her on to Lee. He works it to Mullin now, who's got a real sight of goal. He's in the right channel. There's a defender coming across, but he is one-on-one from a tightish angle. He sets himself and drills it across the keeper just wide of the far post again. Frustration for Mullin. He comes off 3 minutes later. Jon Darby Brothers coming on for his debut. Mullin really frustrated. He's had a couple of good chances in the second half, but his energy and his running and his movement in the first half, and the whole game was really impressive. In the first half we weren't hitting him enough. Second half we did, and he caused major problems even if he wasn't able to hit the chances. We also then bring on Jacob Mendy for Elliot Lee, which means that James McLean goes into midfield and Mendy goes out wide on the left-hand side. And then we have another opportunity. Barnett, again on the right, ripping in great quality. Palmer with a terrific header from about 8 yards out, downwards towards goal. Fantastic save by Flinders, who pushes it back out, straight to Palmer. And you think, right, this is it. But defender lunges in front of him. And Palmer feels he's got to try. Well, he's right. He's got to try and get it above the defender's foot, and he blazes over the bar from 6 yards out. Wrexham could have been made to pay for not getting that second goal because Mansfield finished very, very strongly. Firstly, it's Boateng on the corner of the box, right-hand side, dinking a lovely little chip to the far post, and another substitute, Quinn, is unmarked, standing on the edge of the 6-yard box, but he slices his volley badly into the fans behind the goal. That's with 3 minutes left. With 2 minutes left, a huge moment. Will Evans now has gone out wide as a wing-back, a position he fulfills quite a bit for Newport. Ben Wayne has come on up front. Evans does really well, a wonderful, wonderful cross. Wayne running onto it perfectly, makes contact, terrific contact, powerful bullet header, but he puts it just wide. I mean, it's a heck of a chance. And Wrexham dig deep and earn the 3 points. It's been interesting to me because it seems like on social media the reaction to this game has been quite mixed. Some people seen it as a fantastic result and a good performance. Others seen it as a bit of a scrappy match and a bit disappointed. I'm firmly in the first camp. I'm interested to see the reaction like that. I didn't expect it. And it does show how far we've come, doesn't it? That we can beat a team that's fourth in League One and the fans not all the fans are satisfied. For me, that's a good sign, isn't it? They want more and more and more from the team, and the team, obviously, as we know, are very keen to deliver. Anyway, let's have a look at these performances, because Okonkwo, firstly, excellent. That save in the second half was fantastic, but he made a couple of important interventions in the first as well. Across the back, Cleworth got caught out a couple of times early on. I think probably the sort of hangover of his injury, perhaps, and also the fact he had Lee Gregory up against him, and a succession of strikers over the last 3 years have tried to target Cleworth, seeing him as maybe the weak link in the back three, and have been repelled. Because he's not a weak link, he's superb. Gregory worked him quite a lot, and Gregory's a high-quality striker, and he did get some change out of him. But Cleworth made some key interventions as well. Oh, I've just remembered there's one I didn't mention there. I must have forgotten to make the notes. In the first half, Mansfield knock it in the box over the top, and Cleworth makes a remarkable full stretch intervention to get his toe onto it and put it behind for a corner when it looks like it's going to be a volleyed in from about 4 yards out. Big shout for a penalty, but I don't know. I mean, to be honest, looking at the replays, I think Cleworth has got to the ball. I think it's a tough call, I've got to be honest. Again, it goes Wrexham's way. Mansfield weren't happy, like I said, about the ref. But that was a big intervention by Cleworth that saved the goal, no question. Scar in the middle was Scar. strong and aggressive and defended his penalty area well. To the right of him, to the left of him, Tom O'Connor sometimes I think was looking to play that ball over the top a bit too quickly. I think that was something we were a little bit guilty of sometimes. Clearly our game plan was that Mullin can run in behind when Aidan Flint is a tremendous centre-back in the middle of their back three. But Mullin will beat him in a race, and I think that we're looking for that maybe a bit too often. Then, maybe O'Connor looks at it a little bit. In the second half, we wasted possessions, and I was hitting it forward and hoping Mullin could make something of it. Like I said, I enjoyed Mullin's performance because he was chasing everything, even when the pass wasn't really worthy of him chasing it, if you see what I mean. Wing-backs, Barnett, you know what? There's a few contenders for man of the match, but I will go for Barnett. At first, I wasn't thinking that, but when you reflect back on it, we made Mullin's scissor volley chance, Palmer's header, our crosses, lovely crosses from Barnett. He scores a great goal, and he makes that magnificent defensive intervention, and he is constantly involved, as you expect with Ryan Barnett. So, very good from him. James McLean on the left-hand side, again, had a couple of little impetuous moments trying to nip in to win the ball where he didn't make it and he was beaten, but beyond that was good defensively and typically direct going forwards. In the centre of midfield, Dobson was interesting. A lot of class about him, and I would say he was a man of the match contender, if such things matter. His ability to find a bit of space in midfield, and when Mansfield dropped deep into that template I talked about, he did that really well. They evacuated their midfield for me a little bit too quickly sometimes. And he played some key passes, did some really important stuff. There were points in the first half where I thought maybe he could look to be a little bit more progressive, actually, when he was in those sort of positions. But he regulated play intelligently, had a good game, and put in, as always, some quality service. Cannon, as I said earlier, was excellent with his combativeness in midfield. And on the left-hand side, again, Lee had a couple of decent shots from outside the box, a couple of important blocks as well. It was a classic box-to-box midfielder performance, which it still feels funny to say that about Lee. But again, he rolls his sleeves up and he puts everything in for the team, doesn't he? Up front, well, Mullin, like I said, was hugely frustrated, but I think I've spoken at length already about his movement and endeavour. I thought Palmer did really well, and he was a player I pondered as man of the match too, because he was really everywhere. He did well up front, battling away, but he was dropping deep. He got on the end of so many set pieces from Mansfield to clear the penalty area. He was coming into midfield and battling away. It looked like he maybe was told to stay a bit closer to Mullin in the second half, and we did improve going forwards because of that. But his wholeheartedness was fantastic. And I've got to pay tribute to Ollie Rathbone. Oh, what a little cameo it was by him. Just like 23 minutes of him dispossessing opponents. Really brilliant. His tackling, his anticipation, his aggression, everything about him. Really, it was perfect, like I said, to put on at that point of the game. It was a hard grind of a game in some ways. It was interesting tactically, and they are two very good teams who'll be up there at the end of the season. Wrexham come out with the points. Fantastic. Putting the Harrogate game away. And also, the two draws away from home. Good results, as long as you make sure I'll bet him Huddersfield, isn't it? Huddersfield and Charlton away, which we should have won. Good results, but you need to follow up by then getting some wins after that, and we've done exactly that. So, on to Port Vale for the game on Tuesday. But Wrexham would be very, very happy with that. The players we've mentioned today will be getting a break, as Phil Parkinson has already confirmed. Another big game coming up next Saturday. But, when you get a result like this, you know you can go to a place like Stockport and get a result as well. That's what we do. With a final score of Wrexham 1, Mansfield Town 0, I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.